Steven Seagal, Hollywood's greatest narcissist of all time. Yeah, so these past few years, I've developed this almost obsession with Steven Seagal, and not just his films or his martial arts. I mean anything and everything to do with the man himself, and just exactly why he is the way he is. Which is a huge narcissistic asshole who basically alienated himself from nearly all actors, producers, directors, and even entire studios. Steven Seagal is easily one of Hollywood's most controversial celebrities. The martial artist turned action star made his film debut in the 1988 movie Above the Law. But the 90s is where he truly shined, as this is not only when the majority of his films would be made, but this was really where his career took off, and he quickly worked his way up the ranks of 90s action and martial arts. Unfortunately, Seagal had, and still arguably does have, a massive superiority complex that made him extremely difficult to work with. Not only was he known for being rude and condescending as hell towards other actors, but he also had a habit of actually punching, and in some cases, severely injuring the stuntmen he worked with. Like the time he broke Sean Connery's wrist while filming Never Say Never Again. Seagal's ego had gotten so big by the mid-90s that he claimed multiple times during interviews and talk shows how he could easily beat up literally every other big action star from around that time. This includes Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Chuck Norris, and many more.
I mean, Chuck is in his mid-70s. He's probably 76 years old.
Michael Jai White.
Can I laugh in your face? Do I think Michael is a tough guy? No. Do I think he's a martial artist? No. Do I think Jean-Claude's a tough guy or a martial artist? No. I wasn't around Bruce much. He was the kind of guy who kind of would badmouth most, a lot of the other martial artists and martial arts.
But it doesn't end there. The tragic story of Bruce Lee's son Brandon Lee during the filming of his movie The Crow from 1994, in which he was fatally shot when a gun that was supposed to have been filled with blanks turned out not to be so.
I think that he's dead, but the guy shot a blank gun at him. How could he be dead? And I said, you will find a projectile in him. You'll find a bullet in him. And they said, that can't be. You're crazy. And I said, you will find a bullet in him. And they called me in the morning. They said, you're amazing. And I said, why? And they said, there was a bullet in him.
Well, thank God for Dr. Seagal. Not that this really mattered much, as Brandon would sadly perish that night. And the insanity and ridiculousness doesn't end there. And he also claims to have been born in Russia, but I honestly don't know who he thinks he's bullshitting. Some say it also has to do with certain allegations being made towards him by a number of women in Hollywood who had worked with Seagal.
That is not true.
There is also some footage that can be found online of Seagal eating carrots in Belarus.
It's very for health.
Our suspect, about 6 feet tall, thick.
Yeah, that's right. So Seagal had his own show where he played a police officer. What's more is that Seagal even claims to have been a police officer at one point in real life, though that was proven to be false later on by the authorities themselves, who said in an article that Seagal had absolutely zero affiliation with the law. But are we really surprised? And let's not forget his skit on Saturday Night Live.
This is what happens when you pollute the planet.
Today, the once lean and mean fighting machine has been transformed into a colossal fat ass, and is pretty much more or less retired at this point. Seagal quickly fell into the straight-to-video trap by the late 90s, only appearing in a few theatrical roles here and there. Now, not to body shame in any way, shape, or form here, but it's just amazing looking at each of Seagal's films during this period and into the 2000s in chronological order, and just seeing him grow larger and larger with each movie. These days, Seagal resides in Russia, the land of his supposed ancestors, although many sources would beg to differ. Anywho, whether you love Steven Seagal or absolutely despise him, or if both apply to you like me, there is no denying the story of his life is absolutely bonkers. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in today. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like, maybe drop a comment down below or even subscribe. It would help me out immensely and allow me to bring more fun content to you all. Anyway, this has been Mark, aka The Movie Buffer. Ciao for now, folks.
Can I laugh in your face?